This is the story of Thomas Magede, from part-time welder in Zimbabwe to being one step away from completing his PhD. And today he is our guest. This is Alex and the Message. Hello everyone, welcome today to Alex and the Message. With me I have an interesting guest as always. Today I would like to welcome Thomas Magede, soon to be Dr. Magede. Thomas, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, Alex. Good to meet you.
Very
good to see you again.
Good. I was going to say, good to meet me again. So, when did we first meet? Can you remember?
It's going back 2015.
2015?
Yeah. Manchester Met.
That's it, yeah. I want to ask, because I remember you saying back in the day that I look like a bit of a bad boy with like the haircut and that. Was that always your lasting impression of me, or did I change as the years went on?
The interesting thing about you, Alex, is you where I'm coming from. There's that stereotypical kind of person.
Yeah.
So you look like one. That's why I say to you when you approach me. That's why I say to you, Alex. But the whole thing is, I'm looking from when I saw you to where you are now.
Yeah.
It's quite a big change. You've changed the way I see people, because I used to stereotype. I've come from the States, you know what I mean? But when I saw you and when you approached me, I thought, well, somebody's just trying to find a way to get things done in an easy way. But alas, that's not what came about. But you've quite changed quite a lot.
There we go. So a bit of information about me and Tom. So that was when we first met. And remember my first impressions of Tom, I thought he's a lecturer who's on the ball. 2015, wasn't it? Yeah.
2015.
So 2015, was my second year at the university campus. I met Tom and we were doing a lecture. Think about organisation, maybe something like that. Nah, not at all. Nah.
So you've forgotten. I'm the wrong person for this interview. Then it was all to do with marketing principles.
There it is, marketing. Yeah. See, I knew it was somewhere there for marketing. So that was when we first met. But let's go right back to the beginning. So for yourself, where were you born, and when were you born, and what type of family were you born into?
I was born in Zimbabwe. For those that know colonization, it used to be called Rhodesia. It's an ex-British colony. I was born in Zimbabwe in 1974.
Okay.
So 74. That's quite a long while ago now, I should say. Yeah, I was born in 1974, and family. We were 4. Now there's only 2 of us left, but it was a good family, to be honest. But my dad was so strict in terms of wanting me to get things done. And I didn't come from a wealthy family, came from a family that struggled, but it's the determination that was in my dad, and I had to put in the work. The family had to put in the work. Like I said, it wasn't a wealthy family. I was working. My dad used to do welding. He used to have a workshop, a backyard workshop.
Yeah.
So me from school, I would go and work in the workshop. And then, because I started doing welding when I was 8. That's 8 years old. Wow. That's when I became a welder. And it's not to say that I didn't like the experience. That experience made me who I am. I know in this country you would say, this is child abuse.
We're soft in this country.
I know.
We're so soft.
Yeah. But for me, I just took it as experience. And it saved me from a lot of things, because most of my friends are gone now. You know what I mean? But so it's that kind of... I wouldn't want to say pressure, but it's what my dad put in me.
It sounds like discipline. Would you
discipline,
say discipline?
Yes. Discipline is the right word.
I think a lot of people in this country say discipline is like almost negative, like it's a punishment. But it really means just doing things sort of to a schedule repeatedly. Do you know what I mean? To have it from a young age is a gift almost, in my opinion, to get things done. So around about 8, you started your welding career. Where did you go from there then?
I was going at 8. I was doing my primary school, isn't it? So, and then from primary school all the way to secondary school. I went to a very good secondary school in Zimbabwe. Yeah, it's called Morgan High School.
Okay, shout out Morgan High School.
Okay, so I went to Morgan High School, a very good school, and back then it was a multiracial school, you know, and my dad had to work quite a lot in order for him to put me through that school.
Oh, I see.
You know, and I started playing rugby.
Oh,
and, yeah. And then when
good?
Yeah.
For the listeners, Tom's face just changed completely. He was like, "Of course, I'm good, man. I'm the best around."
I played some good rugby. Secondary school, and then I joined a club called Alexandra Sports Club, and then I played for Harare Sports Club, then I played for Old Hararians. But why I'm saying about this rugby is because that's where I met new people, you know, people that were coming from wealthy backgrounds. If I had played soccer or football, you know, I would probably have stayed in my neighborhood.
Oh, I see, yeah.
You know what I mean? But the rugby itself, it took me to a different kind of like class, different type of people, and those people opened the doors for me in terms of work. You know, because they saw that I was good. So again, they didn't want to lose me, and they could see that I was so determined. Again, coming from the discipline that you're talking about earlier on. So that shaped me into thinking in a different way, and then people started seeing me in a different way, and then I joined the world of work soon after. I didn't apply for any job.
No.
You know, no, I didn't apply, but it's the people that I were in my circles.
Your network,
My network, those are the people that started opening up doors for me. They showed me a different world. And the determination from what my dad put in me was then passed on, was then developed even further when I came across these people. I wanted to have what they had.
Yeah.
So, which means that came through hard work and everything.
I think from a kid, especially, so you've been around teenagers around that time, yeah. When you see people who've got nice things, and like myself when I was that age, I didn't have them as well. When you see people who do, it has a profound effect on you, don't you think? You can see, that's something that I can have. I think there's two ways of looking at it though. When you're a teenager, I think from our sort of background, where we can say that's achievable, we can get it. There's others who almost hate on people for having that success. What do you think about people who are just almost, like, they could be in the same position as us, say at the rugby club, but then what they see is like someone who's cheated to get it, or like, you know, just done something that just because they can't see themselves doing, that it's not possible. So what would you say about people like that?
You see, success doesn't come by hating what somebody has. Success is asking yourself, how did they have, or how did they get what they have now? You understand?
Yeah.
So if you make it up in your mind, if you decide in your mind to say, I want to have more than what they have, then that's when success kicks in.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself, go in their network, ask them, how did you achieve, you know, what you've got? Like you've come to ask me right now, you're asking me, not to say I've got a lot of things, but you want to enter into my world.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you get in their world. You don't have to be jealous if you want to be successful. You don't have to be.
I see too many people, like, maybe it's because they're young and they're just, you know, got a bit of attitude, but they just hate on people who are doing better than where they are. And it's like, if you just pay attention to them and listen, you could have a world that's amazing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I watched a program, rather a short clip on BBC. This young boy, an African boy that came to the UK.
Is this recently? Or?
Recently, yeah.
Oh, okay. If I can find it on BBC iPlayer, I'll link it in the description down below. Carry on.
So this young boy came from a very poor background, and the questions that were in his mind, because he lives in London, he was asking, why is it that there is a group of people that work in that part of London? Why do they live in big houses? This young boy left his neighborhood, went on knocking on people's doors, asking each and every household owner, any person that opened the door to him, he would ask them, how did you achieve this success? What made you to become who you are? And only when you knocked on another door, the lady opened the door for him. He went in. The lady introduced him to her husband. The husband said to him, this is what I've done to achieve this success. But now, because I see that you are determined to achieve things, I'm going to link you to some certain people.
Yeah.
So he was linked with those people. And now this young boy is now working in London, difficult areas to penetrate if you're an outsider. He's there. It's success. Success, you go for it.
Yeah.
Especially when you're very young. Don't be misled by people that want to take shortcuts. Shortcuts won't get you anywhere. You're always looking over your shoulder. I achieved what I got now. I'm not to say that I've got everything that I want, but as a migrant in this country, I've done a lot. I've achieved a lot. People of my age, haven't achieved that. You know what I mean? Why? It's because of determination. It's because of looking up to people, and say, okay, this is what I want to do. I don't want to do anything that will make me look over my shoulder to say, who's coming to take what I've got. No. Success comes from working through hard work. Look at people that have got things. How did you achieve that success? Then tap into their world.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Let's talk about that. So let's talk about this journey, about when you migrated over, and then that great success story as well. So the process of migrating, when did the idea come to move away from Zimbabwe?
Zimbabwe is going through, or rather, when I left, Zimbabwe was going through a very bad patch.
I see.
Politically and economically, Zimbabwe was going through a very bad patch. I didn't have enough money. I did a bit of modeling here and there in Zimbabwe, because I'm hustling. I'm trying to make a life out of myself. Something. Yeah. And then, I made a bit of money, from one job that I did, which was a modeling job. And it wasn't a lot to bring me to this country. Remember, I said the country was going through a very bad patch. But my mom's sister, realizing that, this young boy has got a dream. He wants to achieve things. She says to me, Tom, you want to go to the UK? Here's a bit of money. You've done an advert. There's a bit of cash that you've got. I'll help you out.
Yeah.
So she helped me out to come to this country. So it wasn't an easy ride. It wasn't an easy ride. And then flew into this country. Started from the bottom.
Now we're here.
Now I'm here. Yeah. Now I'm here. I mean, when I was in Hatfield, because when I came to this country, I was staying in Hatfield.
Okay.
I was earning £4.20 an hour, working a very, very, very hard job. A very, very hard job. Sorting out orders, packing trucks.
Oh yeah.
It's
a physical work.
It was, and that's about. I came into this country 2002 in October, the very last day of October. That's when I came into this country. It wasn't easy. £4.20, but the drive that was in me made me to think otherwise.
That attitude, isn't it? Yeah. It's
Yes. I'm an African. I'm here to work. I'm not here to make fun. I'm here to work.
Do you think that's a big difference between sort of English natives and then migrants? That English people almost think I should have this, whereas they're not willing to work for it. Does that make sense? Do you feel that's something that's visible?
Yeah, it is. I can call it the spirit of entitlement.
Yes.
It's a spirit. You know what I mean? It affects people. Yeah. So I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to that. This is what you get in this country. Yes, you see, it brings that dialogue, that conversation about migration. Not every migrant comes into this country to take benefits. Not everyone, right? So when you look at people now, the British English, English people, that entitlement, I call it a concept or a spirit, it's different from some migrants, like people like me. I don't come here to go to bed and get paid, a certain amount of money after every fortnight.
You come here to do your thing. You come here to work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I come here to work. I come here to make money. And I run 2-3 households. My family here, my family in Zimbabwe, and my extended family in Zimbabwe. So I have to work extra hard because I know 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 people are relying on the wage that I make in this country. So if I don't work, they don't eat. If I don't work, they don't go to school. If I don't work, they don't go to university. If I don't work, people will die. There's somebody who's pregnant who's waiting for that pound that I make in this country. So I don't come here to come and sleep. I come here to make money. I come here to work. I come here to add something to the economy. If this economy goes up, I am good. My family is good.
Yeah.
That's the idea. So when I came into this country, it was more to do with, I want to succeed. I'm on £4.20, but I won't settle for £4.20. I'm not a £4.20 person. You understand? I'm not a £4. But now, this is where, remember I told you about starting welding at 8. So when I moved from London, or from Hatfield to come to Wolverhampton, to the West Midlands, that training that I got when I was 8, I recalled it.
That discipline.
Discipline and the training, the welding training. When I came to the West Midlands, I was working in a factory, didn't like the job that I was doing, hard work. And then I recalled that my dad taught me how to do welding. I went for a training, welding training, because they use different types of welding machines from the ones that I was used to. But because of the concept of welding that I was taught at 8, it didn't take me long. When I went, I retained that knowledge. And when I retained, it was easier for me. So from £4.20, then the wage increased based on what I was taught when I was 8. You understand? So now, I'm now welding from £4.20 to £8. It's doubled.
There you go.
I've been in this country 6 months. It is doubled. So which means I'm not settling for £4.20. Like I told you, I'm not a £4.20 person. And I wasn't settling.
If there's one thing, Tom's not everyone. It's a £4.20 person. He's definitely not. Carry on.
Yeah. I chose not to be a minimum wage person. You know what I mean? So then I started working, doing welding job. For a period of time. And then I moved from welding. I actually stayed in welding. Then I started university.
Okay. So what made you think university, as in like a destination to go? What was there a trigger that said, okay, now I want to go to university? Or
remember I said I don't settle for minimum wage.
Yeah. So it was just the ambition,
ambition.
Yeah.
And when I was in Zimbabwe, one thing that, especially the Africans that come to this country, or the African culture, it's education. We believe in education so much because education will take you anywhere. It's something that you keep. Nobody's going to take it away from you. So I had that idea. So when I came into this country, I said to myself, I used to see people graduate because I was now living in Wolverhampton. And then whenever I walk past, is it Britannia Hotel?
Oh, yes.
I used to see a lot of people. I asked myself questions. What do they have that I don't have to go to university? And then there was a place in town that was giving information about degrees and et cetera, et cetera. So I went there and they said to me, show us your certificates. And then when I showed them my Zimbabwean certificates, they say, you didn't know, you qualify. I was like, are you sure?
Me?
Yeah, because university for me, it's a big thing. It was a big thing then, and it's still a big thing right now. So I took the place, but I didn't stop welding.
Because at the same time, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to just sit and wait for, again, the spirit of entitlement. I didn't want to sit and wait for bursary money, for grants and for what student loan, etc. No, I didn't want to settle for that.
You strike me as someone who's ultra productive. Do you know what I mean? Always doing stuff. I think that's not surprising to do welding and a degree at the same time.
Yeah. So that's what I did. I did some work. So each time I had to negotiate with the company owner because I'm a hard worker. So I used to turn out quite a lot of stuff for him. So when I told him that I've started university, these are the times that I go to university. And he says to me, Thomas, I know you're a hard worker. When you are here, you actually turn out a lot of work than other guys that spend most of their time here.
Attitude,
So
yeah.
it's the attitude. So he says to me, you can go to university whenever and then you can still come back to work whenever. You know, I did that guy, he did me a favor, to be honest. And up to this day, you know, I still tell him, whenever I've got time, I go and tell him, you know, I go and do some work for him. He calls me, you know, but I'm earning a decent wage, but still, you know, I go there and then he says to me, okay, can you do some work for me over the summer holidays? I just work for him over the summer holidays. But it was during that time when I was a student, I would come to work. I would go to work 6 o'clock in the morning and my lecture was starting at 9. So I'll try and make sure that I start work at 6 till about 7:30 or till about 8 because it was closer to home. And then I'll go home, have a quick shower. But in my car boot, I've got my boots, I've got my overalls. For when I finish uni, I drive back to work because I needed that money. I needed that money. Remember, I said there's family back home that is living, that is waiting for me.
So even then, they were still sort of like needing that money to come from yourself.
I have to look after them.
Yeah.
Zimbabwe is going through a bad patch. Family is important.
Yeah, definitely.
Alex, family is important.
Oh no, but I was saying that even from when you were earning, say, the £8.50, that even then you were still sharing it out. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you weren't. Something else that struck me. So an ultra productive person, but you're also an extremely kind-hearted, you're family-orientated, like full on. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I've heard of some stories in the UK with, I won't name any family names, but some families who will do each other over for, say, inheritance. Say if an elder family member's died, they'll try and take as much money of that as they can, more than their share. And it's like, I just can't see anyone such as you doing that, do you know what I mean?
Nah, for me, love.
Yeah.
Love. For me, love. Money comes and goes, but love stays.
Yeah.
Family stays. You understand? So for me, family is very important than anything else. Love is more important because where there is love, you know, you won't take away things that are not yours.
Yeah.
Where there is love covers everything. You understand? There's people that will hate you, but where there's love, you always retain people. You know what I mean? Even if they hate you, if you spread the love, that's it. That's all you need.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So when I get £8.50 per hour, I know that from the £8.50 per hour, my money there is only maybe £4. The £4.50 is going to family.
But that surely gives you a sense of tremendous pride, the fact that you can do that. Yeah.
I'm a migrant. I don't want to be living in a lavish, to live a lavish lifestyle when I know that my family back home is struggling. I don't want to be eating expensive food, you know, and having thousands and thousands upon thousands in my bank account when my family's got no food. Where's the love?
Share it. Share the love.
Share.
Yeah.
Sharing is caring. Isn't it? We are taught this in school.
Agreed.
Sharing is caring.
This is brilliant. Okay, so let me just get this straight. So you've done your welding, so you got on the £8 while you're at university. So you were there, and was it just that constant welding for the 3 years of the university, or did you do anything else during that time, or was it welding in university?
It was Welding University for non-stop.
Yeah.
Until, I should say, when I got to year 3, the final year.
Picked up a bit,
the final year of my university, I told the guy that I need to take some time out. You know, and he said to me, "You've been good to me. You can take some time out. Once you're finished, there's a job for you."
Yeah.
There's always a job for you.
This guy sounds like amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, very, very, very. I've come across so many people in this country, but that man has been more of a father to me. You know, the good thing about him, even though I never used to work 37 hours for me to be able to get the overtime. As long as I'm there from 6 in the morning till about 7:30 when we start time, he would pay me overtime. That's 6:30 in the morning till 7:30 in the morning, right? That's 1.5 hours. He would pay me as overtime. And then maybe that particular day I'll only work about 4 hours. But still, he would pay me overtime.
Yeah. Because he
That's how
cares. Yeah.
That's how I value this guy as somebody who is very important, in terms of my progress, in terms of how life panned out for me in this country.
No wonder you say thank you then. no wonder.
Nah.
So, graduation day. What can you remember about your graduation day?
Oh yeah, graduation day now is very interesting. I would have, I wanted to bring my parents. Actually, what happened was, because my mom died 2002, 3 months after I got to this country. So I couldn't go back to the funeral. I couldn't, I couldn't go back, for the funeral. She only fell ill 2 days and that was it. She was gone. So graduation now, I wanted for my dad to be here, but because money was limited, so my dad couldn't be here for the graduation. But that day, because I was now married, or I had a partner, and waking up in the morning, the feeling is strange. You know what I mean? You'd expect, to think, you'd expect your feelings to be excited and thinking, wow, this is the day I've been waiting for this for the past 3 years. And then come the hour, and then you're thinking, so is that it?
Yeah, that's
Finished.
what I thought as well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you walk across the stage, shake the hand, okay, see ya. Cheers, nice one.
Yeah. So it was okay, so that's it, finished. So I'm not looking for work. But the question now that I was asking myself was, because I'd done just marketing.
Yeah.
So I was saying, so who am I? Salesman? Marketing manager?
Who are you?
Who am I?
So who were you? What job did you get?
I couldn't get any job. We went into recession. Yeah. It was 2007, 2008, somewhere there. Yeah. We went into recession.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a job. Went back to welding.
Really?
Yeah. I went back to welding. So it was when I was doing welding, I asked myself a question. So there was an elderly man, about 2 elderly men that I was working with. I'm speaking graduate language. These guys are not picking my language. I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing here really? And then I'm picking £8.40. And these guys are telling me I've been working here for the past 30 years. So it took them 30 years to get paid £8.40.
It goes back to what you were saying. I'm sure there were nice people there, but it's maybe a small sense of entitlement. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I say to myself, £8.40. I mean, it took them 30 years, Alex. 30 years.
It's a long time.
To earn £8.40. I say to myself, no.
I'm done.
No, I'm done. So I applied to do a postgraduate certificate in education, PGCE.
Yeah.
So I did the PGCE at University of Wolverhampton, and then I started in teaching at Wolverhampton College. I taught at Wolverhampton College. Here is again another example of the kind of a person I am. I was doing I'd finished my PGCE, passed my PGCE, started teaching at Wolverhampton College. But like I told you, I don't settle for less. I started doing my master's, at Manchester Metropolitan University.
Yeah.
So what I used to do, I used to teach in the morning, get on the train in the evening or in the late afternoon, depending on the time of my lectures at MMU.
Yeah.
So I would go to MMU after teaching. So I've got marking that I'm taking with me. I'm marking all the way on the train to Crewe.
Ultra productivity again.
Yeah.
You don't waste any time.
No. You know what I mean? And then on my way back, I've got stuff that I need to do for myself. So I would come back home, put the marking, put the college stuff on the side, and then focus on my master's stuff or master's material or master's homework that I needed to do. Then I'll do my homework, read, go to bed round about 12, 1 in the morning, and then wake up in the morning, go to Wolverhampton College. So I did that for a year.
Yeah.
I was doing that reason being that I needed the money from Wolverhampton College to pay for my tuition at Manchester Met.
But something that strikes me is that you always had your eye on the end goal. Do you know what I mean? You weren't. You're thinking, okay, this is a little bit of, we'll call it pain for the moment.
Yeah.
But the reward is going to be amazing. The masters. So yeah, carry on.
So I did my masters. I finished my masters, and then the contract at Wolverhampton College, just ran out, and I was like, okay, what's the next move? Went to Africa for a year, South Africa, trying to see if I could get a job over there. But it didn't work out. Came back because I had to come back for my daughter, because my daughter was only, I think, about 2. Yeah, I think about 2. So I had to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then went back to the same guy to do welding. Something to fall back on.
It keeps going back to welding all the time. Yeah.
So because one thing that I realized, or one thing that I can actually tell, or what I want to tell people is, if you've got a comfort zone, it stops you from wanting to progress because you always want to come back to it.
Yeah.
Welding had played its role in my life. I should have actually made a decision to say, okay, now it's time to move forward. Probably I would have challenged myself in a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I went back to welding. I still love welding, but I just don't go there. Why? Because I still need to push myself.
Yeah, yeah.
I have to let this comfort zone out of my system.
Just keep going forward.
Keep going forward. Yeah. So when I left, this guy, I came back, started working for this guy. His name is Peter Dunn. So
shout out Peter Dunn.
Yeah. So I started working out. I started working for him, and then he looked after me again until a job offer came up.
Okay.
From this uni.
Right.
And
I can imagine you seeing that job offer and thinking, I'm having that. There's no way it's not mine.
When I came for the interview, it was interesting because it wasn't a full-time role, but it was a part-time role. But when they showed me my hourly rate and what I was getting at the welding place, even when I showed Peter, my boss, to say, this is how much they are going to give me, he said to me, Tom, even if I was you, I'll go for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Go for it.
Because he knew.
Yeah. So he says, you've done all the education. I've supported you throughout your education. There's no need for me to be keeping you here. You know what I mean? Only when I get busy, if you're free, that is, if you're free, you can still come back and then I'll, help me out. But if you're not free, it's okay. You can go on with your life. So I came here. And then I started working here.
So firstly part-time, and then did that become full-time, yeah?
Yeah, it has become full-time now.
Yeah.
For a year. But a year after getting the full-time here.
About a year?
About a year, yeah. They told us that, we don't have that many hours for you in the following year.
Oh, I see.
So I spoke to MMU. And then MMU says to me, yeah, you can come. You did well when you were a student with us here. There's work for you. So that was G. Lou and...
let me think, man. I should remember this.
G. Lou.
This is really bad. But I know you're on about the old lecturers at MMU.
Yeah.
I should
Susan
know that.
Schofield, I think. So those are the people that say to me, okay, you can come in. Then they gave me some work. But because I was doing, again, I don't stop, do I? I was doing my PhD. I'd started my PhD.
You definitely don't stop now.
Remember I told you from the onset, Alex, that I'm not a £4.20 person.
That's going to be the title. He's not a £4.20 person. It's got to be now. So PhD.
So yeah, MMU. I did MMU, and then so I was doing both universities, MMU and Wolverhampton University.
Is it, Tom? You want to?
It's more money. Remember. Yeah. So I'm looking into the future. So I was doing MMU and Wolverhampton University. At the same time doing my PhD. But it got to a point whereby I said to myself, I don't really have to travel to MMU because they'd given me some reasonable hours here at University of Wolverhampton. So I just stayed in Wolves, and I'm still doing my PhD.
Brilliant. What are you studying exactly?
I'm studying consumer behavior,
okay.
But my focus is on Zimbabwean migrants that are living in the United Kingdom. How do they use food to construct identity, their Zimbabwean identity? You find people, they're saying that I'm Jamaican, I eat jerk chicken and rice and peas. And when you, Alex, relocate to Australia, you're looking for that place that sells fish and chips. You say you miss home. Home, what is home?
Yeah.
You know, is it home where you are or home where you left?
That's interesting.
You know what I mean?
Is that going to be published publicly, or?
Sorry?
Is that work going to be published publicly?
Oh, yes. Because at the moment I'm writing 2 papers.
Again, one's not enough, is it?
I told you.
One's not enough.
You should know my mantra by now. £4.20 is not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough. So yeah, I moved away from. I'm writing papers. Some of them are coming off the back of my my PhD.
Okay.
My data collection and my data analysis.
I was going to say, 'cause it sounds like such a wide topic that does. Like, it's got a focused title, but when you go into it, it's lots of like rabbit holes or so.
Yeah, there's quite a lot. There's quite a lot.
But I can see for the listeners, I can see from Tom's face, he's into it, man. You can tell he's got a love for this. So when that comes out, make sure I'll leave it in a link in the channel. So for those of you who want to read it, feel free to read it. All right, and so last few minutes. So your PhD is about to become done. What are your plans for the future then?
My plans for the future, I want to go into consultancy. Yeah, I want to go into consultants. I'm very much interested in how the world is shaping up in terms of, yes, consumer behavior, but I also want to see how I can incorporate a bit of digital marketing and become a consultant around digital marketing. Because we remember people, when they consume products, at times they want to tell you about their identity. So if I can incorporate that and then become a digital marketing consultancy focusing on consumer behavior, then I think I will be good.
You'll be sorted.
That's the stop. That's the end.
So you'll have that, and then just on the off days have a bit of welding. You can do a bit of that as a side job, yeah. And then you can always, because for someone like yourself, that's obviously a joke. But for someone to say that's the end of a line, I mean, that must be. What kind of feeling to say that's the end, since you've come from so far, and then that's the end? How does that feel?
It feels great.
Feels great, yeah.
Yeah, especially when you can see the results.
Yeah,
it feels great. You know, I don't want to be a philosopher like Mourinho. You know, I don't want
Let's
to.
not talk about United. United, man.
Yes. Are you United?
Yeah.
I told you from day one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That if you talk about United in my class, you fail.
Yeah. Fail straight away.
Yeah, but I'm not a philosopher, but I have to also talk reality. You know, you need to have a life. You need to live a life.
Definitely.
You know, as much as you would want to achieve a lot of things, you need to live a life. You need to
enjoy non-work things.
Yes. Because I'm a father of 2, and I'm expecting the 3rd one. I need my kids to have something to talk about when I'm gone. Not to say, well, you used to sit behind the computer every time writing stuff. Yes, we can read this stuff, but he neglected us. I don't want that, you know. So I'm fighting, because, I mean, if I tell you the honest truth, my PhD, I'm doing it part-time. I'm paying for myself from the money that I'm getting paid. I told you, the government only paid for me the first year So I needed that foundation. So from that moment, the degree set me up for a better wage at Wolverhampton College. That helped me to fund for my master's. The master's that set me up to find a teaching job at university. The teaching job where I'm getting the money to fund my PhD. You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
So I'm funding my PhD so that when I finish my PhD, I get a better job. Then I start looking after my kids.
There you go.
You understand? So that's the whole idea behind education. So you don't want to just keep on going and going and going and going.
It's as if you just broken through so many sort of like walls that other people be like, no, that wall's there, it's fine, I'm happy with the wall, they'll lean against it, they'll say this is a nice wall.
Yeah.
But then you're saying, nah, because there's bigger things on the other side,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's that continuous just running through. I think a lot of students don't have that. They're quite happy with almost getting a degree and, you know, going out and just doing something that we mentioned before, and maybe a little bit like on a conveyor belt. What are your thoughts on students who have the entitlement mindset? Because you must have seen plenty of students in your time, good and bad. So let's discuss sort of the bad ones. What would you say, if you could sit them right here, what would you say to them? Why aren't you doing this?
You see, our kind of environment shapes us, but it takes you to break away from that environment. If you become comfortable in that environment, then you come with this sense of entitlement. I'll give you, Alex, as an example, right? When I first met you, right, and then I stereotyped you, and I told you, isn't it? I told you straight up.
Right at the start,
I didn't even beat about the bushes. When I saw you at
messing around.
Yeah, I just told you. I said, nah, this ain't boy. But you set yourself goals.
I remember telling you. I remember there was a friend that came and we were getting feedback on some of
Yes.
your work, and they says, "Oh, I want to get a 2-2 on this. I'm going to try." I was like, "A 2-2?" I was like, "Hang on a minute."
You see, there are some people that are comfortable with 2-2.
Yeah.
Everyone out there has got 2-1. 2-2 is for people that push trolleys. If you want to go and push trolleys in a supermarket, then come to university and settle for 2-2. If you've got that sense of entitlement, if you've got that sense of entitlement and then you come to university and you expect to get 2-2, why are you wasting people's time? Why are you wasting people's money? Everyone out there has got a 2-2.
The thing that annoyed me the most is that people, from my experience, they could get the first, but they've said, nah, 2-2's like fine, that's comfortable, what we were saying, the comfort zone. And I think to see people get a first is just because that you don't get a first by accident. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. And so, from the good students, what would you say then have been like maybe some from the past who just been like outstanding? Some examples maybe from Wolverhampton.
There's people that come with determination. Yeah, there's people that come determined. Yeah, and these people are very easy to encourage. You give them work, they do the work done.
Yeah.
You ask them to do stuff, they get the stuff done. You know what I mean? And they don't give you trouble in class. When they come for lectures, they've got a pen and paper to write notes. When they come for a meeting, they've got a pen and a paper to write notes. That's an easy student for us as lecturers.
Yeah.
Because you know that they're like a sponge. They're taking in everything. And when they take in everything, when they give you an assignment, it's something which is beautiful to read. Exactly the things that you told them. That type of a student, for me, is very good. It's very good. They make me enjoy teaching.
There you go.
They make me enjoy teaching.
There's probably going to be a couple of students who listen to this who may be more of a 2-1 or 2-2 student, but they probably want to be a first. What would you say to students that must motivate them?
Don't settle for less. Don't settle for less. When you come to university, make sure you take everything that the university has got. So what does the university have? Knowledge. What do we have in universities? Lecturers that are willing to help. Make use of that help. Make use of that help. Because what happens with lecturers is when we are teaching, we can tell Who is willing to learn? Who is not willing to learn? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the ones that are willing to learn, they present themselves. Then they become an easy target for us in terms of developing them further. We also try, by all means, to reach out to the ones that are willing to settle for 2-2. I've always told my students, from day one, whether I'm teaching professionals on the Chartered Institute of Marketing or I'm teaching undergraduate or master's or MBA students, I've always told them that if you come to my lecture or if you come for my lectures and expect to come up with barely
like
pass mark pass mark for professionals or 2-2 for undergraduate. I don't want that. In my class, I teach first class students. So if they are coming and then they are relaxed, they're thinking they're just going to sail through with the 2-2, already I've put a mentality in them to say that this can be achieved.
Yeah.
I've put a seed in them which is going to germinate every time I'm requesting work from them. It germinates. Once it is finished germinating.
Yeah.
It comes out as a good seed. That's when they realize, they say to me, Tom, you know what? I never thought I was going to achieve this. I never thought I was going to become as good. You know what? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I've got so many people that come into my LinkedIn account. I've taught so many students. So many students still remember. Some of them, at times I give them a mobile number. A good student, I give my mobile number. And then they contact me, Tom, over the weekend, Thomas, what can I do? Thomas, what can I do here? What can I do there? Yada, yada. Because I've got love for students.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when they present themselves like that, I also present myself in that way so that when we meet, one wants to succeed and one who wants to see them succeed. When those two things come together, you definitely produce something great. You know what I mean? So That's what I do.
Yeah. I can see that straight. It's almost like it's like a magnet. They attract each other. Do you know what I mean? And once it happens, that's when you say, I think people think when you finish uni, it's over. You don't see lecturers. Whereas I describe you as a lecturer for life. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'd say, a lecturer for life. Because I guarantee there'll be more students who you've taught in the past come back to you because it's been quality. As a former student, I can say it's been quality. So, always do this at the end of an episode. So we've got a few philosophical questions. I know you said you weren't a philosopher, but here's just a few. Only a few. So the first one. What would you say in terms of advice for your 20-year-old self, if you could?
For a 20-year-old self.
If you could talk, if I was your 20-year-old self, what would you say?
Stay out of trouble.
Was he a troublemaker?
I was naughty. Stay out of trouble. Focus.
Yeah.
Focus.
Stay
out of trouble. Focus.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be 20 next year.
That's true.
We are sitting here, Alex. We've been talking for about 45 minutes. How old are you now?
Well, I'm 45 minutes older than when I was when we started.
45 minutes older than when we started. You understand?
Yeah. You use your time wisely.
Yes. So focus. You know the problem that I've got with kids, especially in this country, when we talk about that sense of entitlement, they don't know what they're sitting on. They're just like us Africans that sit on minerals, and then we expect the West to come and give us donations. You're sitting on a certificate. You're sitting on an education, the British education, which has been exported throughout the world, right? If you are here, you get the education here, you are in a position to work anywhere in the world. I don't have the best of English. You understand?
You're talking well enough. You know what I mean?
But the idea is, you have got this certificate that you can get, the British education that people around the world want to have. If you attain that, Alex, there's nothing that can stop you from applying for a top job in Nigeria, applying for a top job in South Africa, applying for a top job. There's nothing that can stop you. British education it's been exported from this country.
It's like the one that you want. Yeah, it's up there. I think a large part of it is people do not understand how lucky they are to be born into that circumstance. It's like if, like you said, you came from Zimbabwe. You said the country's going through a rough patch economically, and when you came here, you were able to succeed triumphantly. Whereas people just do not understand what's going on around them. They almost reject news. They don't like to take in things that they don't like. I think that metaphor used of sitting on, almost like a winning lottery ticket in terms of education. Yeah. Because there's going to be some people who are going to be not even thinking about uni right now, probably listening to this. And if they can understand, go out there and just, look at the world, see what's going bad with the world right now, and understand that you've got the power to have a far better life because of your circumstances. That was just sheer luck you were born into.
Oh, yeah.
Take advantage, It's such a small island in the world. Take advantage of it, do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you look at people that live in Britain, this is a rich economy. Okay? But in a rich economy, we've got people that live in estates. People that live in estates emulate people that live in big houses. Yeah?
Yeah.
So take that as the world. Estates, poor estates or poor neighborhoods are like how should I put it?
But trying to replicate them or
I'm trying to give an example to say when you look at Britain and other poor countries, people that live in an estate are like people that live in those poor countries. And then people that live in big houses are the people that live in England, in Britain. They've got everything that they want. A child who lives in a rich family doesn't even know how hard it is to hustle for a loaf of bread.
That's true.
But the one that lives on an estate knows that, you know what, at times we've got no electricity because dad was paid, but the bailiff was waiting outside. So the one that's living on an estate is thinking, how am I going to hustle to make money?
Education.
So you've got, if you are in Britain, you are from a rich family, right? You are in a rich country.
No matter if you haven't got the brands or whatever, you're still rich without the brands.
Compare yourself with somebody who's coming from a poor country. That's the juxtaposition that I'm talking about. You've got somebody who's coming from a poor country and somebody who's coming from a rich country. Whether you're living in an estate or whatever you're living in the United Kingdom, right? You're living in a wealthy country. One who is living in Africa doesn't have access to the things that you have. But you're taking the things that you have for granted, and this person is thinking, in Africa, where can I get the British education?
Yeah.
You have got the British education, but you're not taking advantage of it.
Strange, isn't it? Very strange.
And people blame the system. I don't like people. Yes, we've got a system at times which is broken in some places, but it's you who can break away from that system and go elsewhere.
Take responsibility.
Go elsewhere and do stuff. And this thing of saying parents don't know. Parents know everything. Parents know everything.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't be here. Parents, they know everything. Parents, whether you're a teenager or not, even if my dad was alive today, my dad will tell me, he will tell me things about life. Because if my dad had been alive now, he would be about 70 odd years. I've never lived up to 70 years. But because there's that much difference between my dad, so he's got experience. So whenever he tells me not to do certain things, it's
your
to benefit me.
To take it in.
You understand? It's to benefit me.
Yeah.
So when I look at my 20-year-old self or something?
22, yeah.
22. You know, I'm saying when you say think.
Oh yeah. When you say it to yourself, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Focus.
Just focus.
And focus.
There you go. One hell of an answer, Jesus. Question number 2. Only a few more to go. So we've got this, another. What we done? So question number 2. What brings you the most joy in life?
Wow. To see success. To see people succeed. And to see people love one another.
Yeah. I think that's been evident from this whole conversation.
Yeah.
And then finally, since the podcast is called Alex and the Message, assuming we don't know who the listener is, what would be your final message to the listeners?
My final message to you, the listener, is go out there and get it.
Just get it.
Just go and get it.
Tom, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for being on the podcast today. You're welcome back at whenever. I'm sure the people listening will want a number 2. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Alex.
You have been listening to Alex and the Message. If you stayed to the end, please drop a like, leave a comment and subscribe for weekly uploads. For regular updates, you can also follow me on social media, firstly on Twitter as AATM and also on Instagram as AlexAndTheMessage. Thanks for listening and have a great day.